Okay, it is 2:01, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Ken Garcia. I'm the Senior Communications Manager here at NCCER. And joining us today is Dario VanHorne, our NCCER Project Manager, and Don Congdon, our NCCER Technical Writer. And we are here to talk about the updates to our Welding Level 1 curriculum. A lot of great things have been updated in this program. If you have any questions, please be sure to use the Q&A button and we'll try to get to those at the very end. We are recording this, so it will be posted to nccer.org, and we will also be emailing you the recording once it is up and ready to go. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Dario and Don.
Hey, thanks for that lovely introduction, Ken. Welcome all instructors, program coordinators, and industry partners. As some of you may know, NCCER is a not-for-profit 501c3 education foundation created in 1996. For those of you who are not as familiar, the letters stand for the National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. It was developed with the support of more than 125 construction CEOs and various associations and academic leaders who united to revolutionize training for the construction industry. They all were sharing the common goal of developing a safe and productive workforce. So these companies created a standardized training and credentialing program for the industry. This program has now evolved into a curricula for more than 70 crafts and maintenance areas, and a complete series of more than 70 assessments offered in over 6,100 NCCER accredited training and assessment locations across the United States. We can go to the next slide. So the Welding 6th edition, Level 1, this revision leans heavily on safety and breaking down each process of welding into step-by-step details. Some of the key features we're going to talk about today are the enhanced NCCER Connect materials, the incorporated video content, the safety content that we have improved, as well as you will have the possibility to pair this with the Miller Augmented Arc, which actually contains all of the performance tests for our modules. The printed text is currently available. The e-text will be available during the fall of 2022, and there is currently the process of translation happening, and that should be available in 2023. We can go to the next slide. So here I'll pass the baton over to Don so that he can talk a little bit more about the features you will have available to you with each one of these modules and some of the improvements we've made.
All right, thank you, Dario. Well, thank you for being here, and I'm sure those of you in the audience who are instructors are eager to hear about what's changed in the 6th edition of Welding Level 1. As you can guess, since we've had 5 previous levels, this was already a very solid program, and these improvements just make it stronger. We had an excellent committee of subject matter experts that gave us a lot of suggestions. In fact, they gave us 121 suggestions for change, which we implemented, and we think this makes this book even better than the one before it. One of the other things that we did to the book overall is we improved the reading grade level. NCCER tries to target an 8th grade reading level, so it has maximum accessibility to all audiences, and we achieved that very reliably throughout this book. We also updated many of the photos, broadening our brand presentation, so we have more products and more welding companies being portrayed in the book. We augmented the artwork and in many cases simplified it, tightened it up, made it more targeted so that it's introducing key ideas very crisply. So that definitely is a change you'll notice. One of the big things, as Dario mentioned, is improved safety. We unified safety guidelines across all 12 modules, so there's a much more consistent feel as trainees read different modules. They get very clear information about things like fire and explosion prevention, the dangers of toxic metal fumes, and eye protection, which is crucial in welding. In fact, we introduced a new tool we really like in this book, a graphical tool to help them understand which shade of welding lens they need to pick for a given process. Instead of just a table of numbers like we've had in earlier books, we now have a nice graphical chart that appears in multiple places. We updated the information on safety data sheets. As you know, safety data sheets have replaced material safety data sheets in industry. The old book dealt with MSDSs. The new book has SDSs, so it's fully up to date in that material. And finally, we also tightened up, improved, and clarified the performance tasks so they have a more unified feel. That's the book as a whole. Now let's talk about some of the specific modules. As you can see, we have 12 modules here. I'm going to talk about 8 of them specifically. First of all, Oxy Fuel Cutting. This is a very important and popular module that appears in other NCCER programs as well. So this one has spread beyond welding. It is greatly improved and clarified, especially in safety and procedures. It's a little tighter, a little more specific. Base metal preparation, we talk in greater detail about how steels are classified and identified. We've improved that discussion, so trainees will be confident about the metals they're working with. We also talk about loads on weldments. Loads are important because the weld will fail if it's not properly made when it's loaded up. So we went into that in much greater detail. The Weld Quality module has updated AWS specifications. They're fully up to date now with the most recent version. We also have improved illustrations of weld features and weld positions. We talk about qualification tests, and we have improved illustrations for that as well. And then finally, a topic that I personally enjoy since I did some of this in my industry background, testing. Testing both destructively and non-destructively are well covered. When we move on to SMAW equipment and setup, we added more information on engine-driven welding machines since many trainees will have to work in the field with these. So we've added that. SMAW electrodes, we talk about the classification system, and again, we have a more clarified, improved discussion of that. And then finally, our 3 modules that deal with the actual weld beads, fillet welds, open groove welds, and backed groove welds. These have been tightly unified with each other so that they have a very consistent feel. Even though they're different kinds of welds, trainees will have a very comfortable experience as they go from one to the other. The steps have been simplified, clarified, tightened up again. And we've also added illustrations to illustrate acceptable and unacceptable weld profiles and features. If I could sum up this book with just a few words, I'd say that it has much greater unity between modules, much greater clarity, and above all, stronger emphasis and clearer emphasis on safety. So those are the things you can expect as you get your copies and delve into welding level 1. Okay, Dario, back to you.
Thanks for that, Don. Thanks for getting the instructors really excited about the content they'll be having in their hands soon. I don't know, there's much more they want to hear from me now. But in total, the training hours for the program will be 365 hours, including the core content. And what I'll talk about now is the new design. So if you notice, this is what the pages look like on the top right of the first 2 pages you see there. You notice the color-coded tabs. This helps the trainees navigate through the text easily, knowing exactly what content belongs to each module. That's followed by the objectives list, and which gives them the skills and knowledge they'll be participating in as they move through this particular module. And that's followed by the performance task, which is the activity that will give them a chance to apply the skills they have learned. On the right-hand side of the slide, you notice the section opener. This is how the module opens, shows the organizational structure of the module, and then the text begins. One huge change we've made is making sure that the trade terms appear on the page next to the text in the most relevant spots so the trainees can navigate the text easily. And if they need to make a reference or look back to see what something means, they know exactly where to find it on that page. The same would apply to the images that we present alongside the text. Um, any math equation that is present is broken down in step by step. And as much as possible, we provide you with the imperial units as well as metric units for the values that we're using. In the first page, you can also see the QR codes at the bottom right of that first page. When the trainees scan this QR code, it will take them to the website where they can have access to the digital resources, which includes some of those videos that we mentioned previously. And you will also have boxes throughout the text that show notes, warnings, and caution material, as well as going green content that will be relevant to each section where that appears in the text. So we can go to the next slide. In terms of video resources, as Don mentioned, a big push that we're making is towards safety and PPE. So we're presenting welders in a shop with the proper way that they should be handling these tools, as well as completing the processes that they will be working on. Some of those videos include the Oxy Fuel Cutting process, the plasma arc cutting process, how to prepare the base metal before welding, the SMAW electrodes, as well as the process of fillet welding, groove welds with backing, and open root groove welds. We can go to the next slide. As some of you are familiar with, we will have access to the NCCR Connect, but this Connect is updated with new content. So you will have the self-guided learning, you'll have dynamic presentations, practice quizzes, straight terms quizzes, review questions, interactive figures throughout, as well as project-based learning. The project-based learning will be it will provide an experience that is optional for instructors for the trainees to be guided through a step-by-step project that they can build out using all of the skills that they have acquired during their completion of the level 1 trainee guide. We can go over to the next slide. So let me walk you a little bit through what the self-guided learning looks like. If you see here on the left, that's what the trainees see when they open this. This is not a replacement for the class or the text. It's just a way for the trainees to get access to the key points of each module in a way that they can navigate at their own pace. So it is a nice piece of content that instructors can even take advantage of by assigning it as homework. On the left side, you have a visual of the navigational table of content and what the module looks like when you open it. On the right side, this is an example of, let's say, one of those interactive figures where the trainees get voiceover content that walks them through what they're looking at on screen, and they can click around and get further explanations of each one of the elements that are part of this particular section in the text. So that provides varying levels of interactivity, and it's a nice tool to further that learning experience. We can go over to the next slide. They will also have dynamic presentations available both to the trainees and the instructor. These are presentations that match closely the content that you have in those PowerPoints that you're familiar with. With these, the trainees can navigate easily through the content. It includes the trade terms as well as those review questions you're familiar with at the end. Let's go to the next slide. And as instructors, this is probably the most important thing you're looking for. This is the e-text. Many of you are handling hybrid classrooms or have students that are participating both in person and digitally. This e-text will provide you a solution for this modality of learning, allowing you to convert your standard training program into a digital-friendly format, as well as what you do in the classroom. So this is a one-to-one match with our textbook or our trainee guide. You can navigate it the same way that it would be in text, and it contains those activities and images that the trainees will find relevant to the text. So at this point, this would be the end of the content, and we can open the floor up for some questions.
All right, absolutely. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop them into the Q&A button. If you throw them into chat, we'll try to get those there as well. We do have one question so far. If I understand correctly, there is now a 6th edition, which replaces the 5th edition that was issued in 2019. That's correct. I answered that one. All right. The next one that we have is, when will the instructor resources be available?
So the instructor resources will be available as soon as the NCCER Connect goes live, which would be this fall.
Is there a cost for purchasing the e-text, and what is it?
All of this is available once you have your trainee guide and the Connect. So that's how that operates. You get that all together in the package with your textbook and the access to the Connect.
And Lauren is asking if, yes, there will be a copy of this recording going out. We will email it to you. So please be on the lookout for that. It will also be on nccer.org. While we wait for any other questions to come in, Don, can you talk a little bit more about the importance of our SMEs and their input on these updates?
Certainly. SMEs are obviously at the heart of producing our books. One of the things that we really appreciate about our welding SME committee is they come from so many different backgrounds. We have people who are active in industry right now in a variety of industries. We also have people who are instructors, either part-time or full-time, at technical colleges and industrial venues. And they're good because they keep us up to date on welding codes. We had 2 SMEs that were absolutely superb on keeping us up to date on the current state of the art in the AWS, the ASME, and API. And they were able to spot things that have changed since the 5th edition and keep us up to speed there. They're just very helpful overall. And because some of them interact regularly with students, they have countless insights into things that trainees do that wouldn't occur to many of us. And so we can anticipate the mistakes, the safety violations, other things that are just so important in training. So our SMEs are definitely very appreciated and very important.
Yeah, likewise. I do find it, super interesting working with the SMEs and having that insight into not only what happens in the classroom setting as instructors, but some of them are in the industry practicing this work as well. So we are able to blend those 2 experiences together into one piece of content that addresses all of those asks and concerns, as well as what happens when the trainees actually get out there in the workplace.
And for those of you who might be interested in becoming a subject matter expert with NCCER, Allison Butts, our Director of Outreach and Engagement, who is on this in the background, let us know that you can do that. I've put the link into the chat. So if you're ever interested in being one of our great SMEs, please definitely sign up for that. We do have a question here that hopefully you are able to provide an answer to. They're new to NCCER. Are there certifications that attest to the welder's skill level?
You want to take that one over, Don?
No, I really can't answer that one, Dario. Sorry.
And just so everybody knows, if we can't give it to you live right now, we will look into the answers and we will be providing any answers, especially the questions we just couldn't get to. Is the welding level 2, 3, and 4 being updated to the 6th edition? And if so, when will that be available?
Yeah, they will all be updated to the 6th edition, and those will be coming at you during 2023 and so forth.
Ken, I happen to see one here I can answer.
Please do.
How close is this to the AWS Sense curriculum? I would say we try to align it with the AWS Sense curriculum. There obviously is a formal definition of that you can get from AWS, but we do try to keep a lot of our activities closely aligned so that if the trainees can do ours, they will find it very easy to satisfy AWS sense.
Okay, and I think that builds into an answer to the previous question. Now that you say that, the certifications that the trainees are able to get will correspond to the level of the trainee guide that they complete. Therefore, they, in accordance to the skills that are available in each level, the trainees will have a certification that says these are the skills that they're able to complete. And I think that that kind of answers the question that we had before from Lauren.
I happen to see another one here, Ken, that I can answer, asked by Frank. He says, I'm concerned about the 8th grade reading level for community college students. Is this college level? Okay, this is a quite a valid question. People are concerned about when they hear 8th grade reading level, they sometimes are afraid the curriculum has been dumbed down or something, and that is most emphatically not true. Reading grade level and quality of content, level of expertise required are really two separate things. When we write for the 8th grade reading level, we are simply making the reading accessible to a broad audience, and especially not just to native English speakers, but English as second language readers who may struggle a little bit more with English. But as far as the content, its rigor, and the technical knowledge they must acquire to become certified welders, that has certainly not been compromised. It's most certainly college level.
And I've been seeing some messages here in the Q&A that I guess there's been some issues with me getting the link to you. I just hopefully was able to let you all see the chat. I'm gonna do it again one more time so you hopefully can see it. That's in there. We'd had a question come in. With the revision, are there any plans in the works to coordinate with Job Corps on revising the current welding ETAR to align with the 6th edition?
I think that that would be one of the questions that we would answer a little bit later, so I can provide you a full response. But yeah, so we have worked with the alignment according to the AWS, the Department of Labor, and so on to kind of guide our rewriting of the material. But I can give you further detail later on.
Okay,
right.
and Ken, just a quick thing here. I just want, I noticed one of our committee SMEs is here, Richard, and he says hello in the chat. So I'm just saying, Richard, thank you for joining us, and you definitely contributed a lot to this book. So thank you very much.
We will be
All right.
working with the ETAR, with Job Corps on the ETAR for the welding program.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So we got one more really quick. You provided the total number of hours for level 1. Is the minimum amount of hours, or can it be shortened?
So the hours that we provide are recommended hours based on the experience that our instructors and SMEs have had with the program. But these are recommended hours. They can be adjusted according to your class size or the institution that you're a part of, the way that you want to organize the program. Yeah, what we present is just a recommendation.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. We really do appreciate your time. When we send out the recording, we'll make sure to include the link to becoming a subject matter expert. I do apologize. There may have been some technical issues, but we'll make sure that is in the email that we send out. Again, this recording will be sent out. And if there's any questions we could not answer, we will definitely provide those to you as well. Dario and Don, thank you so much for your time. And Nicole in the background, thank you for your assistance. And everyone, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks, Nicole and Don, for the assistance.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
everyone, for attending. Bye-bye.
Bye.